The thing that's exciting about today, and the reason why it's important to create with biology today, is we've got the right tools to address some really big challenges that we're all facing, like sustainability, for example. Most biotechnology solutions take hundreds of millions of dollars, many years to deliver, and we just don't have that kind of time. It's not enough to go past the existing animal-based infrastructure for making proteins. We got to do better than what biotechnology has used historically by creating one platform that can deliver many protein products to multiple industries. We've got new ways of tackling these grand challenges that we're facing as a society. And that's why it's like really exciting to be building a biodesign company today.
Hey everyone. In this video, I want to pause a little bit on the meat discussion and talk about collagen, because just yesterday, Jellatech has announced that they are now producing human type 1 collagen. There's a number of companies in the space, but kind of two main ones. One is Jellatech, and they're making collagen using cellular agriculture processes. And then you have Geltor, who is making collagen using precision fermentation processes. So I want to look at a little bit more at these two companies. I don't claim to know anything about collagen at all. So again, do your own research, but I wanted to just take a little bit of a look to try and see what the differences are, because Jellatech is being invested in by Cultivate Science, and Geltor is being invested in by Agronomics. They're two different technologies. Let's get into that video.
At Geltor, we brew fabulous protein products for some of the biggest consumer product companies in the world and are expanding into other industries. 40 years ago, this company called Genentech figured out how to make insulin using microbes instead of extracting it from animal parts. Why hasn't that same sort of model, delivering the power of biology through fermentation, been extended to other industries? And one of the big challenges was bringing that performance at a real scale that's relevant for markets like food and beauty and other industries. Biology totally changed the way that medicine worked, but it hadn't really worked its way into every other part of our life. What Geltor's been able to do is really unlock those and deliver them to customers for the first time. So our first product is a collagen that you'd never be able to isolate from an animal or from another source. You can only make it through biotechnology. And that's what we built on over the past 7 years.
Proteins are really the workhorses of life. They help build who you are. So they help you digest, they help build your tissues, they help build every part of your body and pretty much every part of nature that you see around you. The traditional way of actually sourcing proteins, it's both unsustainable and quite limiting. For instance, extracting proteins out of animals, it's going to be one day looked upon as very archaic. It's both environmentally damaging, and the things you can extract from those animals has pretty much reached its limit. We need to find better ways of both making those proteins and making better proteins than what we already have access to. Biodesign can really empower a cleaner, better product for both humans and the planet.
We're really one of the pioneers in being a product-focused company in this world of biology and biotechnology. We're able to go from an idea to a product in months. That's a totally different cadence of building products, delivering solutions, and that's what's really enabled us to expand the markets that biotech can make an impact inside of.
We really try to make things simple when we start off on the computer, where we actually identify the best sequence for what we need that end consumer product to do. And so we design or identify the best protein that's found in nature to drive that activity. Then we take it for very much of a brewing process where we put an organism into the fermenter that pumps out that protein, and all it takes is sugar, salt, and we get the end product. Then we actually bring that into what we call our scale up. So we bring this into a manufacturing scale where we're producing tons and tons of this product and shipping it all over the world to power millions of ingredients. We really had to tackle two major challenges. One, there wasn't really any adequate technologies to address making animal proteins without the animal. And we had to develop everything in-house to really address that issue. We were successful at doing that, and now we power millions of consumer products around the world. The second challenge we had to overcome was actually scaling the technology to industrial scale. And now we've achieved that into the millions of liters and 100% success rate in terms of every manufacturing run so far. That's really been unheard of in the whole biotech space. we can truly design from end to end for every functionality that we need. And that really excites me every day that I come into work. So we can replace silicons, plastics, and many other harmful ingredients that we're using every day today and make them truly obsolete.
It's only going to make a difference if these products actually work, and they work. You know, we sell to some of the biggest cosmetics companies in the world, working with some of the biggest nutrition companies in the world. And what we really emphasized is developing protein products with unique, superior performance benefits. The second thing is sustainability. You know, for our customers, they find about half of their greenhouse gas emissions are coming from the stuff they use to build their products. They need solutions that can deliver sustainability and performance at the same time. That's why a lot of folks are turning to Geltor today to help them build, you know, their most iconic products. This is something that can make an impact in every vertical that we set our eyes on. The future is us going from the core industry where we've got a foothold today, and then working market by market by market as we grow to help more customers. That's what we're excited about here.
I think there's two things to note here as a start. One, Geltor was founded back in 2015, so 5 years before Jellatech was founded. And they are now on their Series B round, which means they're already producing revenue and they're already selling products to customers. So they're considerably larger and more established of a company than Jellatech is today. And we can already see this from the video that we just watched, where Geltor is already scaling into the millions of liters scale. And they're already profitable, they're already selling to customers. The second thing to note is that these companies are both using different technologies and they're both looking to enter slightly different markets. We are now on the Geltor website, and we can see that the two industries that they're targeting and currently selling into are the beauty and personal care industry and the food and nutrition industry. If we click to learn more, we can see they have a number of different products here, including one human type 21 collagen. There are probably about 24 different types of collagen available, but let's look a little bit more into what the difference is between the two. Here with Jellatech, this is a year ago when Jellatech announced their type 1 collagen from bovine cell source. Now, just yesterday, they announced human-sourced collagen, but this still gives us a good look at the differences. Initially, Jellatech is going to be targeting the biopharma and biomedical markets, and could possibly look into directing their products at cosmetics, nutrition, and food markets down the line. Whereas startups such as Geltor are producing collagen peptides via microbial fermentation, Jellatech is growing porcine, bovine, and human cells to produce collagen, and it's not cost effective, at least right now, to produce more commoditized collagen proteins such as gelatin via cell culture or microbial fermentation until those cost curves come down. Right now, many firms are targeting the lower volume, high value markets in biopharma, cosmetics, and nutraceuticals. Jellatech is making collagen type 1, which is the most abundant collagen in skin. Collagen is secreted by the cells as 3 chains which fold together to form a triple helix, which is what makes it functional. And that's what our cells do that other microbial fermentation cells can't do. People we're talking to have tried the microbial fermented collagen proteins, and they don't work for every application, even though they're great. The attraction of Jellatech's product is that it's bioidentical to native collagen produced by animals. Why wouldn't companies just use the real thing? Well, one, there's more reliability and consistent in the product and the supply chain. And also, especially with cosmetics and nutraceuticals, consumers are pushing towards products that are more animal-free. The low-hanging fruit for Jellatech and collagen for the low-volume, high-value product is the biomedical and biopharma applications. But in the long term, their goal is to get the price point down to where they compete with the food and beverage market. So that's what they're targeting. Again, we'll have to see what those cost curves do in the cellular agriculture space. We already know that they're very, very close in the precision fermentation space. And I would expect us to get reduced costs in the cellular agriculture space as well. But we'll have to see. It's still an unknown. One thing as well to note is that Jellatech's collagen, while it's made without slaughtering animals, it's not animal-free in the way that Geltor's collagen is. So we can see that from the cost and the technology perspective, right now it actually looks like Geltor has a more cost-effective product which they can scale, and that's really important in the long term. Like, you can build a prototype, but if you can't scale your product, then ultimately you're not going to be successful as a startup. If you have a lower risk in terms of your investment outlook, it might be better to go for a Series B or C company that's already proved that they can scale and get to some revenue. Whereas with Jellatech, they're still building their technology and still looking to try and invest in getting to that scale. And so we don't know if they're going to get there or not. But as we can see, their product is potentially more useful for the pharmaceutical industry because it is an identical protein, whether it's sourced from an animal or a human, whereas the precision fermentation version from Geltor might not have all of the properties that might be needed in the medical space. So in this instance, we can see potentially that the Jellatech would be able to capture more of the medical space, whereas Geltor would be able to capture more of the cosmetics and the food and beverage space, just because the costs are lower and you wouldn't necessarily need as robust of a product to enter those markets.
At Jellatech, we're focusing on growing collagen and its derivative gelatin in a lab. You might not know how actually collagen is all around you, whether it's the derivative gelatin in gummy bears to give them that really nice, chewy sensation. A fun fact, a lot of gummies in Europe actually have more gelatin in them because Europeans tend to like an even tougher chew than Americans. It's also in capsules to make pills and pharmaceuticals easier for us to swallow. It can also be collagen in a hearty bone broth that might be the starting point for your favorite family recipes. Or maybe you put collagen on your skin today while you use your daily moisturizer. So it's something that's really around you a lot more than you may realize. Collagen is also a very, very complex protein. It's a triple helical protein, and I'm not going to dig too much into this, but basically it's these 3 alpha chains come together, forming a collagen protein. They can then come together to form these fibrils that give cells and tissue structure, which is also the protein that gives us all the amazing applications before. It's an $8.4 billion market, and the only way of getting collagen and gelatin today is from animals. From the bones, their hooves, their tendons. Not anymore, actually. So I actually have something to show you all today. And you're going to be the first to see this outside of the Jellatech team. I'm going to pull it up. It's small, but right here in my hand, I have our very first cell-based collagen. This is a full-length, triple helical functional protein made from our bovine cells in our lab. So this was made without the need to slaughter animals. It didn't come from bones or hooves or tendons or all the nasty bits and pieces or byproducts from the meat industry that we don't want to eat. It's something that we grow completely sustainably and safe in a lab. Thank you. So now you might be wondering, how do we do this? So it actually starts with a very small biopsy from an animal. So it's a skin biopsy. It's about 3 millimeter diameter. It's very non-invasive. The animal does not have any discomfort. We don't need to slaughter it. And from that tiny 3 millimeter biopsy, we take that back to the lab. We then isolate cells, and then we select the cells that we're interested in. In this case, we want cells that are really good at making collagen. We place those in a vessel called a bioreactor, but really it's just a vessel that mimics the environment that the cells would grow in a cow or in a pig, except we can actually tweak this environment. So we can make the cells grow quicker, healthier, and more dense, and we can make them make even more collagen than they would inside an animal. We have then developed technology to successfully extract and isolate the protein, and we can separate the cells from the protein itself, and ending up with what I showed you just before, a full-length functional bioidentical collagen that you can process into gelatin, collagen peptides, or use as a full protein itself too. Now, what's next for us? Scale up. So right now, we are actually fundraising to move from a bench scale into pilot scale so that you all can end up with the collagen that I just showed you before. Thank you.
That presentation was from last year when they had just released their bovine collagen, and now they've released their human collagen, and they perfected their pilot stage. So now they're fundraising again to get to that commercial stage, which would probably be about in a year's time. What I like about these companies is that they're both looking at slightly different markets with slightly different products using slightly different technologies. In the case of collagen, I think both Geltor and Jellatech can be successful. Ultimately, we need to replace all forms of collagen and gelatin from the animal industrial system as we phase out the industrial agriculture system. So I do think there is room for both of these companies. One of the interesting things for me is with food tech, how does this difference in technology then apply down to food? I'm Chris. We'll see you in the next video.